So some news coming through. The Punch newspaper reported that the federal government has released a list of some terror financiers, which include a Kaduna-based publisher, Tukomamu, and 14 others who were said to be funding terror in Nigeria. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit reportedly listed the identity of the 15 entities, including 9 individuals and 6 bureau de change operators and firms, according to the newspaper. It said that the NFIU document showed that the Nigeria Sanctions Committee met on the 18th of March 2024, and specific individuals and entities were recommended for sanction following their involvement in terrorism financing. The Attorney General of the Federation, with the approval of the President, has thereupon designated the following individuals and entities to be listed on the Nigerian sanctions list. The document read in part, among the individuals named in the document was the Tuko, who is currently being tried by the federal government for allegedly aiding the terrorists who attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train in March of 2022. Let's get some sense in all of these. I have joining me tonight a former commander of Operation Safe Haven, a retired Major General. I have joining us Major General Henry Ayoola, who joins us virtually. Thank you so much, General, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you, Sean, for having me.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, viewers.
Yeah. Let's get a sense, first and foremost, before we get, because our major focus will be on the terror financing list that we're understanding that it emerged from some documents that are being processed by the NFIU for sanction, under the sanction committee. Now, give us a sense of what happened in Okwama community and within the security sector. There are a lot of talk about the implication, what could have led, and the dynamics of this. For someone like you who have led troops in similar terrain, what came to your mind when you heard the story?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I better start by commiserating with the families of these gallant officers and soldiers who were gruesomely murdered in a very unusual way. It's a tragedy, it's anathema, it's a grave thing that shouldn't have happened at all. I just join my heart with all of the members of the armed forces of Nigeria, and including those of us that are outside the service already. And we pray and trust that God will comfort the bereaved ones, and this kind of thing should become something to be put behind us. That should never again happen to us as a nation. So having said that, I also like to correct the numbers that are being bandied around. The actual number is 17 total. The commanding officer, who was a lieutenant colonel, 2 majors, 1 captain, and 13 soldiers, making 17. I mean, the issue of human lives cannot be something we be approximating. Then we need to be correct about it. There's 17 lives, precious lives. Okay, I will say that also is what comes readily to my mind is it's a sad note for me, for us, for our country to be in this state. I mean, as somebody who has seen the nation and been around the military sector for over 50 years, I asked myself, how did we get here? You know, how did we get here as a nation? When I was commanding Operation Safe Haven, we have had near such disaster before. Because what has happened over time is that our nation has lost touch with values, with ethics, with character. You know, what we are seeing is a harvest of long-time failure of parental responsibility, societal responsibility of nurturing and bringing up, children that, we imbibe the same ethics and culture that we grew up with. And it's a case of having gone full cycle where you had parents who perhaps were not properly brought up and now become, or as children, of course, and now become parents themselves. And it's sure to happen that way because the law of sowing and reaping applies in all situations. Nobody beats it. What is done moderately in one generation will be done in excess in the next. That's how it works, and that's what we're seeing. And it's a sorry state for us to be, but I think it's a clarion call for all of us to wake up, and begin to address the real issues. We've done a lot of palliatives and dodging the issues and explaining them away and tolerating things that should be decisively dealt with over the years. It's not just something that is happening now. What we're seeing is a harvest of several years of negligence, several years of padding things that should have been, frontally dealt with. And that's what we're seeing now, where you have a situation where the level of civil disobedience has escalated to youth not even being deterred by the fact that these are men in uniform and should be respected. It's an assault on the state. It's an assault on our collective psyche. It's something that should outrage every one of us. And nobody should make any attempt to play down on it at all. I think it's a wake-up call. We should all wake up and smell the coffee and say, look, with this cycle should end here. This cycle of bloodletting, this vicious cycle of just lawlessness at its peak should come to an end here. And everybody should come into this fight against lawlessness and wickedness in the nation.
It's so sad, and the brazen attack and the killing of men in uniform. But there are scenarios that, as an expert, I'd like you to just give us insight on. This was in the night, we understand. The situation was, according to those who understand, who know, say it's a matter of a land dispute. And you wonder the role of the military in this kind of situation. Has it been the procedure for military to be called into this kind of civil engagement? Or what do you think could have been? Is it a normal procedure for the officers to be involved in this kind of situation at night? What could have gone wrong?
At this, people, giving some fancy comments. Well, let's look at it realistically. The truth of it is that our nation is not in a normal state. The fact that virtually every state in the country today has one military operation or the other tells you that we are not in a normal state. So when people begin to say, oh, maybe it's long before now. If not, then what do we have all the operation, this operation, that in all the states? It means we have crossed that threshold of what the normal civil enforcement agencies can handle. That's what it means. And if we have done that, of course, I also hear, we have been the same people putting so much pressure on the armed forces. So, look for non-kinetic measures, soft power options and all of that. Of course, it must be in that kind of frail that the commanding officer will have found it, a way of nipping an obvious boiling issue or an issue that will eventually escalate worse later, as to preemptively go, to try to tackle it that way. Because there can be 1,001 arguments as to either there was a tactical error or that or not. But those are not the issue right now. It doesn't even matter if a mistake was made. That's a set of youth somewhere, anywhere, we have the audacity and the recklessness not to even spear people in uniform who have laid down their lives for the benefit of the rest of us. That level of temerity should not be tolerated and should not be explained away by either it should have been military job or anything. No, they are two separate things entirely. That's my take on it.
One can only imagine, if this is not properly managed, the kind of aggression and the kind of reaction that could have come naturally if it's not well managed from the military. Yeah. We've seen that happen sometimes over when the military on their own will take action to correct or to react to any kind of harm or any kind of aggression against the military, isn't it?
Yes. In fact, let me add to that. You see, when I was on Operation Safe Haven, we held peace rallies almost every week, because it was clear that this was not just purely a security challenge. And so there was a need to engage different groups of, the people, different faces, different group, different even age groups, different ethnic groups, different religious groups, all in an attempt to find solution. I mean, in Yoruba, there is a proverb that when something is lost, you search for it anyhow. When you are trying to find solution to very abnormal situations, you cross several lines. You bend backward. You lower yourself to even, more or less becoming a preacher, even though you are in uniform. You do everything because you want solution. You want solution. And if the solution is going to come by the soft power method, by the peace approach, why not? We have been too long in this state as a nation. If you imagine the amount of money that have been spent for the various operations that have been on in the country for over 20 years, those kind of money would have been used to develop our infrastructure. So the military officers are aware of these things. They are not happy being out there doing what ordinarily should have been the police work. Nobody is happy with that. But that's the reality on the ground.
Let me take you. Let me take you to the issue of the terror list, that the financier list that came out from the reporting of the Punch newspapers, which reported about 15 persons and firms, that organizations, including Bureau de Change, that are involved in terror financing, and they have been listed for sanctions. What do you make of this? This is something Nigeria has been battling to kill terror or terrorism on Nigerian soil for over 20 years now, from the Northeast region. And now we're seeing some active roles of these terror gangs within the Northwest region of the country in the name of banditry. And now one of the persons who is facing a trial over in the linkage to the attack on the train in Kaduna is also named Mamu in this particular situation. What comes to mind when you heard that the federal government, the Buhari government, has said it, that they know those who are funding terror, they will release their names, but for 8 years that never happened?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this is one place that we should give a pat at the back to the current government. I was on the air severally during the last regime for the 8 years, and I remember one of the points we drove home very strongly was the fact that there was a lack of national will to deal with this situation, and that the will was not strong enough by the government at the time. And so it is good to see a government that is showing a stronger will to deal with these situations. Because I have said it again and again, that what we have is a political strategic problem masquerading as security challenges. I've said that 1,001 times. You will agree with me as this thing begins to unfold, that now we are seeing, in fact, what I would call a simple step that is really a giant stride, right? Taking this step to bring out and call out these names and take this next step. In my analysis of insurgency and terrorism, I've talked about 8 S's. And indeed, one of the S's is what is coming out now: sponsors. Because out of the 8 S's, all the approaches we have applied in trying to solve insurgency and terrorism in the country, and just about 2 components of those 8. So adding this third one to it, we go a long way, because it's like we've been dodging the issue. It's like we've been dodging naming the enemy, naming the adversaries behind this problem. I mean, we even agree to the fact that, are we saying that the gates of hell were opened suddenly and Nigeria just having this all-round challenges, security challenges coming? Is it that aliens were sent from some abyss to come and attack Nigeria all at the same time? No, the indices and the indicators certainly speak differently. It's obvious that there's some central control and command and control of those who are doing these things. Because for them to be happening concurrently all over the nation, you know that there is something that is not by the individual actors. Okay? These are clear indices that anybody in the intelligence circle or in the security circle can pick them readily. Okay, so for me, this is a major step forward, and I think we should follow it up with subsequent steps that will create enough deterrence. Because it's like some people have gotten away with, blue murder all of this while, and thought that nothing, they can go scot-free and nothing will happen. And if they begin to get the new message that, look, you are not going to get away with blue murder anymore. There's a new sheriff in town, and this is not going to be tolerated any longer. Because it's also clear that what you tolerate, you cannot change. So the first step to changing a situation or dealing with a dastardly situation like ours is to stop tolerating things that should have been utterly frowned at. So good step. That's what I would say. And of course, I expect that this will be followed up by the security sector, all the forces, services, agencies, with the freedom now to deal with these issues and all the other dimensions to be brought on board so that we can have, a holistic, concurrent actions dealing with these 6 different components and sectors of insurgency and terrorism. And that will give us the solution we've been looking for. Yeah.
Now that we have these names, what do we do with them as a nation? Technically, what happens afterwards?
Yeah, well, that's a very security-related question, which I won't be able to elucidate so much. But I can tell you that the services and agencies involved know what to do. They know what to do following this. And you see, all along it has been these services and agencies looking up to the body language of these at the grand strategic level, and hence, as it were, their hands were tied. So once the grand strategic level makes it clear that no ox is God, nobody cares about whose ox is God, and no sacred cow, they will be free. They will be free, and they must be encouraged to exercise that freedom of action to take the next necessary steps. Yes.
So if you look at the names, I don't know if you have seen them, if we can go through these names, and perhaps with your technical mind and professional mind, maybe you can make sense of it for us. We have Tuko Mamu, Yusuf Ghazali, Mohammed Sani, Abubakar Muhammad, Salamuddin Hassan, Adamu Ishaq, Hassana Oyiza Isa, Abdulkarim Musa, Umaru Abdullahi, and 6 BDCs and firms include West and East Africa General Trading Company Limited, Satins Bureau de Change Limited, GSI General Enterprises, Desert Exchange Ventures Limited, Eagle Square General Trading Company Limited, Alpha Exchange BDCs. I was trying to do some investigation to find out the real persons and find out the linkages, the identity of this person. We're trying to, but it looks like some of these names carry multiple identities because maybe some of them have some kind of a generalized names. But let me allow you to, because we try to check who they are, we try to identify, put faces to these persons, and maybe now that the names are public, maybe people can know who these persons are. But from your mind, General, if you have this list in your hands, what comes to mind if you look at the names, trying to analyze the names?
Yeah, thank you so very much. Well, we are getting to brass tacks now. That's what it means. I think we are unveiling the things that hitherto have been covered. The first thing to know, and I've said this again and again, that the real crux of what Nigeria is going through is a clash of civilizations. and let me expatiate on that. There are two major civilizations that you can identify in Nigeria. Now, this is a concept that has been enunciated by Samuel Huntington in his book, The Clash of Civilizations and the Remaking of World Order. And he defines civilization as the highest level of categorization of humanity. I mean, from after you say the human or humanity as one single entity, the next categorization really would be civilizations, because it cuts across religions, ethnicity, nations, kingdoms, principalities, city-states. They are soft factors that define the two sides. Like I said, the two major. He actually identified 8 civilizations that are subsisting in the world. And that was about mid-90s. But later in his next edition, he actually dropped Zoroastrianism, which of course we know was a civilization that was in the then Persian kingdom. And of course, I mean, it's virtually extinct. And then he also asked, some aspersion on whether there is still something that can be concisely said to be African civilization, because our civilization has been more or less modulated and demodulated by other civilizations. And okay, but having said that, the two main civilizations that we see in the international arena is the Western civilization and the Islamic civilization, or the Arabic civilization, if you like. And the clash between those civilizations are obvious. They are there. And so, more categorically speaking, the two civilizations that we see clashing in Nigeria is simply a replica of that global trend. Okay, it's a local replica of a global trend. And let me put it very clearly, because I know I will attract some flags on this. Now, in Nigeria setting particularly, this civilization cut across, like I said, ethnicity, religion, tribe, and all of that is simply two convenient platforms by which mainly the elite class have got, to survive. Let me put it that way. So you find people in these two different civilizations, but there are different indicators or different premises that are working in each of those civilizations. And one of it is that what the difference majorly is that what is an accessory in one is an excess in another, or what is tolerated in one is frowned at in another. But the uncanny thing about the whole thing is that the one side of this civilization that is more of akin of Western civilization is not very much aware of the other side. Okay, and there's a whole lot of ignorance even among the elites in that civilization as to what are the values and the ideologies of the other civilization. And that's where our major clash is coming from. And that's why you will find why some of these things have been tolerated by those who have acted on them all of the while.
So, General,
that's much I can say about it. They are very sensitive area, but until the day we address this aspect of the nation, everything we are doing will just be one step forward, 2 steps backwards each time we change.
All right. So I need to go on a break now, but just in about 30 seconds, if you may. Is it possible that we can take air out of terrorism with this name that we know? Can that help us in any way?
Yeah, it will go a long way to finding the solution, no doubt. It's not totally the only factor. There are other factors. If I pick out one of my essays, there are also foot soldiers who may not even be connected directly, who don't even understand the ideology behind what they are doing, and they are just like robots programmed to do one thing and can't do anything else outside that program. That's like, so that had to be dealt with, as a parallel line of action,
All right. Major General Henry Ayoola is a former commander of Operation Safe Haven, a retired Nigerian military officer. Thank you so much indeed for the insight you've given tonight on these issues.